fucking pissed. I'm so pissed, guys. I just recorded this whole video. It was fucking done. I was gonna edit it and put it up, and then I realized I didn't hit record. Fuck. Anyways, guys, this is Beanie, and welcome back to another video. I'm about to have to record this again. I'm so fucking stupid. But anyways, yeah, welcome back to another video where today we're going to be talking about all the defensive improvements, the defensive stream that they had like 3 or 4 days ago. Sorry I wasn't able to get this out to you guys earlier. I've had a lot going on the past couple days, but I'm getting it out now. So yeah. First thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about some things that, were in the game in the past, but have kind of changed a little bit just because of all the new things that they put in. First of all, primary, secondary, and out-of-position players. Out-of-position players are going to be really bad this year. They're going to get terrible jumps in the outfield. They're going to make a ton of errors on the infield. They're going to be slow. They're not going to have good throws. Like, it's going to take them a long time to throw the ball. That was largely true last year, but it's going to be even more true this year, and they showed a lot of examples of that in the stream. And the formula for deciding how bad to penalize someone is based off of that skill position tree. What do they call that? They call it like the fielding something. It's some sort of system where it's basically just it puts fielders in a tier and says like, well, shortstops are athletic enough to cover basically any other position except for catcher, and then center field can cover this many positions and they'd be fine there. It's based off that system, but it doesn't mean that like a shortstop can play anywhere without having any penalties. It just means that his penalties are going to be a lot less severe than a guy that is a first baseman or a catcher trying to play center field or something like that, you know. Also, another change this year is that button accuracy is going to be a little bit different. For players that are out of position or guys that are just really bad or something like that, they're going to have a much smaller green section on their button accuracy meter. I know a lot of you guys don't use button accuracy, but almost all the like really competitive players do. I do. And for the past few years, button accuracy is just a breeze. I mean, it's really easy to hit green on your throw, and if you hit green on your throw, then you're never going to make a throwing error, basically. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit more difficult if you don't have a really good defensive player. And for the good defensive players, it looks like the button accuracy meter is maybe even a little bit bigger than it has been. So that's kind of an extra bonus. And also, button accuracy is going to start as soon as you press the button. Last year, it kind of felt like your guy needed to field the ball and kind of get set sometimes before the button accuracy meter would start, and it was really inefficient. But this year, it's going to start as soon as you hit the button. So like your guy will be fielding the ball and you'll have already pressed the button, and your guy will immediately go into his throw branch and throw whoever you're wanting to throw out. So yeah, that's way more efficient, a lot better. And yeah, that is it for that section. Okay, the first thing that we're going to talk about that was referred to in the stream is fielder ratings and how that is going to affect their quality in the field. And they've improved a lot of things across the board this year, and basically it boils down to lower rated defenders are going to make a lot more mistakes, and really good defenders are going to do a lot more good things. And and I know that seems obvious, but in the past, it's been kind of difficult to tell like a really, really good defender from a really, really bad defender, especially in the outfield, because everybody just kind of made the play, you know, like even bad defenders would get there most of the time, and it was kind of tough to tell. But this year, if you have a really bad defender in the outfield, he's going to be getting really bad jumps, he's going to take really inefficient routes, and he's going to make more errors. He's going to drop more balls. So it's just really like, if you have a guy like Nick Castellanos or something, a guy that's a really good hitter but kind of a terrible defender, one of the worst defenders in the league, you may want to rethink playing a guy like that because he's going to hurt you a lot on defense. Now, one concern that I have with this is they mentioned in the stream that if you have like a really bad third baseman, your opponent has a really bad third baseman, maybe you want to test him out by laying down a drag bunt or bunting at him and making him make a play, and a lot of times he might screw that up or something. And this kind of concerns me a little bit, not maybe this specific situation, but it does make me believe that there may be some new meta emerge out of all this, that you basically have to have elite defenders across the board, because if you have like a bad defender or an average defender somewhere, there may be some weird way to exploit that while you're hitting at the plate. Maybe bunting will be the thing. If you just bunt at like even an average third baseman, maybe they will make mistakes often enough to make it worth it. I think that they've probably done enough balancing to prevent this from happening, but it is SDS, and you know that sometimes they can kind of, things don't come out exactly the way they envisioned. So I do kind of hope that the new meta this year isn't that you have to have elite defenders across the board, that you can kind of get away with having, you know, a couple maybe bad defenders and a couple average defenders, and that the elite defenders will kind of make up for those guys, if you get what I'm saying. And as far as the good defenders go, they're going to matter way more, and that's why I kind of hope that it doesn't turn into an elite defensive meta, even though I guess I wouldn't be all against. There has to be some sort of meta. That's just not a meta that I would enjoy a ton. But anyways, good defenders are going to matter way more. If you have Billy Hamilton or Byron Buxton out there in center field, or Ken Griffey Jr. or Willie Mays or somebody like that, they're going to be getting terrific jumps. They're going to be taking really efficient routes. They're hardly ever going to drop the ball. They're going to have strong arms. They're going to be great out there defensively. So yeah, it's just nice that they made a real effort this year to delineate between the really good defenders and the really bad defenders, and then everyone else in the middle. It seems like for the first time probably ever, we're really going to be able to see that difference. I can't wait to see what you know, a guy like Brooks Robinson or Matt Chapman look like at third base, and if they're just going to be like a god over there, while kind of a bad defensive third base. Who's a bad defensive third baseman? Well, Nick Castellanos used to play there and he was awful. So yeah, like Nick Castellanos, if he's going to be really terrible over there at third base, and then Chipper Jones, who was kind of average, you're going to be able to tell that he's just kind of average. And then a guy like Matt Chapman is just going to be making the most ridiculous plays ever, you know? Okay, moving on, we have some new ball physics in regards to like balls off the wall and how players will play those balls off the wall. Lots of new stuff added there, and it's all for the better. Players are not going to be playing the ball off the wall. Last year, it felt like your player got kind of locked in to either a bad animation or a good animation when a ball was going to be coming off the wall, and it could either be really good for you or really bad for you. This year, there's going to be a new system. They added these things called ribbons, which is really just like a line that shows you where that ball is going to be coming off the wall and its trajectory after it hits the wall, and it'll allow you to get into the correct position to make a play on that ball. And that's really nice because it puts you in more control over your own defense, you know. And if you have a really highly rated defender, you're going to be able to see that ball's trajectory exactly. Like, you're going to be able to know exactly where to get. Whereas if you're a terrible defender, you're not going to see much of that at all, and you're just going to have to kind of guess where the ball is going to be going. So that's a really positive change. Another thing that they've done is that they've changed how the ball reacts to different textures on the wall. So if you have like a padded wall or fencing or something like that, the ball is going to be a little bit easier to handle off that. Whereas if you have a brick wall, like in SunTrust Park or in AT&T, what is AT&T called now? I forget. And anyway, the brick wall there, if it comes off that, it's going to be a hot shot, and it's going to be really difficult to handle. And you know, you might seriously make a mistake, even if you have a good defender out there and you know exactly where that ball is going to go. It might come off so hard that you just don't have time to get there, or it might just go by you. You know, so I really like this new change. I think it's really cool. I think that it'll add kind of a new dynamic to defense and balls that are hit really hard, especially with contact hitters now having more gap power. I think we'll see a lot more balls coming off the wall, and there will be some new strategy that kind of goes into how you play those. Do you play it aggressively to keep that guy on first or second? Or do you take more of a conservative route to, make sure that that guy doesn't get an inside the park home run and keep him at second or third? But you make the decision there. Okay, the next thing that we're going to talk about is fielding efficiency, and this is the thing that really I'm the most excited about, because last year it was just so ridiculous how inefficient some of the fielding was, and that was supposed to be the thing that they were going to fix last year was, the infield hit bullcrap from MLB 17 and everything, and they never, it was just never really felt amazing. It always felt okay, and the fielding was never terrible, but sorry, I had to grab my thing down here. It was never amazing. It never felt like it was perfect. And the reasoning for that is, they tried to explain this in the stream, but basically you had 3 tiers of types of ball hit at infielders, and there was high, there was medium, there was low. And any balls that were hit in between that, their AI just didn't know how to react to that, so the computer would kind of safeguard itself, or the AI would kind of safeguard itself by playing it really conservatively, and it took like a really, really long animation. The guy would field it, he would take forever throwing the ball, and it led to a lot of infield hits and eventually a lot of runs because of that. So this year they had a real goal in mind to kind of take that animation away, at least for the most part, and any of those balls in between, they put in new animations to cover that. So if you have a ball that's like in that lower medium section, your guy will come up, he'll charge that, he'll take the most efficient route possible, he'll get it, he'll very efficiently throw the ball to the second baseman, try to turn a double play, or throw it to first, try to get the out, whatever the best case, whatever the real baseball play would be there, the AI is going to know to make it, and he's going to know how to do it efficiently, which is something. Last year I think they were kind of more focused on throwing efficiency, trying to get as many efficient throws in the game as possible and to do it as quickly as possible. This year they were really more focused on doing the same thing but with the glove and with your positioning and how you attack different ground balls. So I think it's going to look a lot cleaner, a lot better. Also, with fielding efficiency, we have something that we saw in the trailer, which is error recoveries. Like if you last year we had that animation that everybody called the Olay animation, where the ball would just kind of ride up you and fly off into the outfield, and you would kind of Olay it. And this year, instead of that happening, you might knock the ball down in front of you, and if you don't hurry, it's going to be an error, but you can recover, and the AI will allow you to pick that ball up and throw it to first base or throw it wherever you need to get the out. In past years, if you knocked a ball down in front of you, if you didn't field it cleanly, your guy would walk around like a fucking moron, like he had been hit in the head with a sledgehammer. He couldn't pick the ball up. He'd just run around it, and he wouldn't do anything to like try to get the out. He would just act like a moron. So this year we don't have that problem anymore. If you knock a ball down, you're going to pick it up immediately, get the out wherever you need to get the out. And sometimes, maybe if you have Billy Hamilton running or something, maybe you don't have time. Maybe you're going to get charged with that error, but at least your guy will make the attempt. Also, one of the most frustrating plays in MLB 18 were plays around the plate, like little choppers that your catcher had to go get or your pitcher had to come get, especially if there was like a guy on third base. Everything fucking went to hell. It all went to hell. If you had a guy on third base and you had a chopper in front of the plate, everything went to hell. Like the guy would start running, your catcher would pick it up, he'd be running around the plate trying to get in the right position to tag him. Once the guy came in, your catcher would like look at him and then try to tag him, or what. I mean, it was awful. Or if the pitcher fielded the ball, he would like field it, then he would square up like he was about to throw like a rocket to the catcher, and then instead he would just like flip it gently to him, and it was way too late by that point. This year they fixed that. The pitcher is going to attack the ball. He's going to go get the ground ball and make a really nice flip. They even showed a glove flip in there. It was really nice and sexy. So those aren't going to be problems anymore. That's always really nice. I hope that I never see like a loose ball somewhere on the ground and a player running around it again trying to pick it up, but they just don't have the animation. They just don't know what to do. I hope I never see that again. And I'm thinking I might see it again like once or twice in this year's game, just because that's the nature of games. You're going to see funky stuff. But I hope that whenever I see it, I get really pissed, because it's so rare. Like, it never happens. I want to say, wow, I really got screwed right there, because that never happens. Where in the past it would just be like, oh yeah, that's MLB The Show for you. I want it to be a really rare occurrence. Next up, we have combating exploits, and this is something that I think all you guys will be really happy about, and I'm happy about it too. Last year we had the problem where everybody would steal, and if your opponent pitched out, you could just run right back to first base, no problem. They'd never get you out. I did this 1,000 times. I know I might get called out on that from some purists out there, but everybody else was doing it at the highest levels. If everybody else is doing it, you kind of have to do it too to keep up. It just becomes part of the meta. And yes, I did it, but I'm glad that it's gone. I'm glad that you can't just, exploit stealing like that. If you try to steal and your opponent, reads it correctly and makes the right decision, you're going to pay for it. You're going to get thrown out, or it's going to be really close, or, whatever. Also, no other types of base running exploits are really going to be viable either, because of just how quick all of the throw branching is this year. Last year, the throw branching was a lot better than it was in 17, but it still wasn't quite quick enough to be able to throw guys out who were, exploiting base running cheese and stuff like that. If you had a guy that was stealing second and you hit a ground ball to the second baseman, your second baseman would pick it up, make a normal kind of lollipop throw to first base, and your first baseman would catch it. He'd wait a minute, and then he'd throw it to third, and by that point, the guy was clearly safe, and, there was nothing you could do about it. This year, second baseman is going to pick the ball up, throw it to first baseman's going to catch it, throw it to third, bam, bam, double play. So that's not going to be a problem anymore either, and I know everybody's going to be really happy about that, because there's nothing in this game other than maybe the home plate bullcrap that's more frustrating than getting cheesed. And I think that's kind of the theme of this year. The theme of this year, and it's kind of funny because MLB The Show 18, that was the theme of 18, was frustration. And the theme of 19 is no frustration. Like, any of the frustration that we had in 18, we're trying to get it out of there. And obviously there's going to be a few things once the game comes out where people get frustrated, but it does seem like those problems are going to be minimized in 19. That's a great thing. They also showed some new animations. I've already talked about a lot of them. They also showed one where you can rob foul balls now, like in the outfield. That's something that we've never seen before. Like, you could never go over the fence in the outfield to rob a foul ball. Some more wall climbing animations to get catches. That's pretty cool. I talked about the pitcher glove flip animations, error recoveries. They also have deflections off the glove. They only showed like one video of this, but a ball deflected off the first baseman's glove and kind of flew into the outfield. I thought that was kind of cool and realistic. So they have over 1,000 new animations in the game, and all of them seem to be targeted at making fielding as efficient and as fair and as player skill, not your skill, but like the skill of the player that you're controlling based. So in my mind, that's exactly the right approach that they needed to take, and they've executed it. I'd give them right now like a 9.5 out of 10. The only reason I can't give them a 10 out of 10 is because I haven't played it, and I am a little bit worried about some of the new metas that might emerge from some of these ideas. So yeah, great job SDS so far. The last thing they talked about was how they are regrading their players defensively, which is long overdue. The fact that Mookie Betts spent so long as like a 78 fielder. I mean, it was ridiculous. Now he's a really elite defender, which he should be. It shouldn't have taken this long to get that done. Same goes for Yasmani Grandal. He was a 78 last year. Now he's a 91. He's the best defensive catcher in the league. Anybody and nobody try to challenge me on that. Yasmani Grandal is the best defensive catcher in baseball. He's the best framer, which is 10 times as important as throwing or blocking or anything like that, and he's still a pretty darn good thrower and blocker. And so yeah, he's easily the best, and they gave him really good fielding because of that. So yeah, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Guys, if you haven't already, please leave a like and sub if you're new to the channel. That would be swell. I would be really happy about that if you would just hit that sub button and then turn on the notification bell too. This is a new nifty thing that YouTube has going on. No, it's not new. It's quite old. Hit that little bell right there and just click always. And anytime I upload a video, you'll have it. So yeah, I don't know why you'd want to put yourself through that, but there are some sadistic fucks out there. So yeah, I love you guys. I will see you guys later, but until then, peace.